Hello everyone, welcome to lesson 27 of my PySimpleGUI lessons. In today's video, we're going to be learning quite a bit. We're going to be learning the attributes and update values for image elements, as well as how to animate the GIF type image elements. So first, let's import PySimpleGUI as SG, and then let's make the layout. Inside the layout, we're gonna have an image element. Let's worry about what comes inside later and focus on this first. The window, Python learning, layout, and then while true, we define event and values, and then we print the event and values. If event equals none, then we break. Equals none, then we break, and then we close the window at the end. Close the window, yes. And then let's run this. Okay, so now it's working. And let's talk about the attributes. So the first one is the file name. We talked about this quite a bit last class, so I won't go into too much detail. Lesson 27. Picture. Oh, sorry, it's backslash, not slash, and then w for g logo.png. Okay, so let's run this. Alright, so now we have the basic image, and similar to file name, there's the data. So data is the base 64, and we're not going to be showing that in this video. We already talked about this before. And after data, there's the background color. Let's say black. So background color is black, but if we run this, we won't be able to see the background color because this image fits the whole thing. So let's change the size a little bit. So if size equals 400 by 400, now since this picture right here is 300 by 300, 400 and 400 will have a margin. So now if we run this, there will be a margin here, 50 on each side. Since 300 by 300, this end plus this end would be 100, divided by 2 is 50. Okay, so after the size, we have the pad. Like before, it's the left, right, up and down. So let's just not go over this. And we have the key next. The key is basically the identity. And then let's call this image and give this a tooltip. So tooltip is when you put your mouse over it. And this text shows up. This is a tooltip, sorry. This is a tooltip. Alright. So after that, there's the right click menu. So like before, if you right click, a menu shows up like this, and when we click this like this, 1, 2, 3. Alright, so after the right click menu, there is the visible. If visible is true, then we are able to see this. If this is false, then it would no longer appear. So let's keep this as true. And lastly, there's the enable events. If this is false, then no matter how hard you click, the event won't appear. But if this is true, then we click and the key and event shows up. The event and values. The values, there's none, so it's just blank, and the image is the event. Alright, so now these are all of the attributes, and let's go on to updating. So since enable events is on, we can use that as the event. If event equals image, if event, oh wait, this needs two equal signs, sorry. If event equals image, then window, the key inside, we want to update the image, and there are quite a few update. So the first one is changing the file name. So let's change it to the other lesson 27 picture, and the W4T logo 01, and remember to do backslash. Okay, now originally it's like this, then when we click this, oh, I'm sorry, we forgot to put a period here to show they're not in the same folder. And now when we click this, this one shows up. There's a 01 here, as before there wasn't, now there is. Alright, so the next one is window image update, but this time we write data. So since we don't have any that we can showcase right now, let's just write none and go over it. And then the next one is last one is updating the visible. If visible is true, then we are able to see this, and if this is false, then it's no longer visible after we update it. So if this is true, then once we update it, it is still visible. Alright, so that's the updating and the attributes. Now let's go into GIS. Let's get rid of this and write a new one under here. So, yep, we import PySimpleGUI again. Then we can define a GIF. So let's define one as one that's already built in. We can do the default base64 loading GIF. This is something that is built into PySimpleGUI, so you don't need to download anything other than the library. And now we can make a layout. Inside the layout, we can make the image, and the image can simply, data is GIF, GIF is this GIF, and then at the end we can define a key for it. Let's just call it key, why not? And then window, sg.window, Python learning, the layout, and then while true, event and values equals window.read, and then we can print the event and values. If event equals none, then we break, and we close the window. Okay, so let's run this to make sure it's working. Alright, so now here is the loading wheel that spins around, but as you can see, it's not really spinning because we didn't animate the GIF yet. In order to animate it, we simply, inside the read, we write a timeout. Let's say 10. This is 10 milliseconds. Between every read, we time out for 10 seconds, which is like pause for 10 seconds. Or if we're using the time library, it's sleep. Then over here, we add a new line. This line, window key, which is this key right here, dot update animation. This is a new one, update animation. And then inside we need two attributes. So first one, we need the source. Source, we can just write this GIF right here, GIF, and we need the time between frames. So this is how long it pauses between each frame. So it's also in milliseconds. We can write 300, and now when we run this, it will actually be spinning. But this is kind of slow, so let's improve this. Let's make this smaller, 200 milliseconds. Alright, now it's going a bit faster. Let's try to make it even faster, 100 milliseconds. Alright, now it's spinning. Okay, as you can tell, the timeout here, this is actually pausing in between because of this timeout. And it's getting printed because of the event and values. Alright, another thing to take notice is that the timeout has to be less than the time between frames. Like, if the timeout was 1000, then this wouldn't work really well, because it would wait a long time to start and then spin really slowly. This is not what we want. Even if the time between frames is really little, the timeout in between is really big. That is not something we want. So just try to keep the timeout smaller. This way it'll spin well. Alright, that concludes lesson 27 of my PySimpleGUI course. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. And remember, from novice to pro, work for tuition helps you grow.